Listening Section Directions. The listening section of the TOEFL IBT test measures your ability to understand conversations and lectures in English. In an actual test, the listening section is divided into 2 or 3 separately timed parts. In each part, you will listen to 1 conversation and 1 or 2 lectures. You will hear each conversation and lecture only 1 time. After each conversation or lecture, you will answer some questions about it. Answer the questions based on what is stated or implied by the speakers. In an actual test, a clock that is provided shows you how much time remains. The clock does not count down while you are listening. The clock counts down only while you are answering questions. For this practice test, a useful guideline is to spend no more than 35 seconds to answer a question. You may take notes while you listen. You may use your notes to help you answer the questions. Your notes will not be scored. In some questions, you will see this icon. This means that you will hear but not see part of the question. Some of the questions have special directions. These directions will appear in a gray box on the screen. Most questions are worth 1 point. If a question is worth more than 1 point, it will have special directions that indicate how many points you can receive. You must answer each question. After you answer, select Next. Then select OK to confirm your answer and go on to the next question. After you select OK, you cannot return to the previous questions. You can select Review at any time, and the review screen will show you which questions you have answered correctly or incorrectly and which you have not answered. From this review screen, you can go directly to any question you have already seen in the listening section. Select Continue to go on.
Directions. In this question, you will be asked to give your explanation about the topic. After you hear the question, you will have 15 seconds to prepare your response and 45 seconds to ask. Describe a field trip you went on that was interesting to you. Explain why it was interesting. Include details and examples to support your explanation.
Please prepare your answer after the beep. Please begin speaking after the beep.
Directions. In this question, you will read a short passage about a campus situation and then listen to a talk on the same topic. You will then answer a question using information from both the reading passage and the talk. After the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak.
Now listen to 2 students' discussion. I saw a letter in the school newspaper today, and there was this man talking about mandatory computer classes.
Yeah, I saw that too. And honestly, it seems like a ridiculous idea to me.
Why do you say that? Computer classes might not be such a bad idea.
But this is the opinion of a man who graduated 25 years ago. Of course, he didn't get computer training. Anyway, the situation now is very different. Basically, most students these days have used the computers for the majority of their lives. What's more, we use computers for nearly every class. Literature, art, history, you name it. We certainly don't need extra computer classes.
Well, I can see where he's coming from. I know this classmate of mine who isn't very computer literate, so people like that might benefit from having computer classes in school.
But I don't see how it's the school's fault that your classmates can't use a computer. That's his responsibility. It's the same with the man who wrote the letter. He should have tried to learn on his own about computers after he graduated. You know, he could have taken adult classes or something. Basically, I think people have a responsibility to make sure they are prepared. I mean, you can't rely on schools to teach you everything.
True. He could have tried harder, I guess.
The woman expresses her opinion of the letter, stated her opinion, and explained the reasons she gives that opinion.
Please prepare your answer after the beep. Please begin speaking after the beep. Please begin speaking after the beep.
Directions. In this question, you will read a short passage on an academic subject and then listen to a talk on the same topic. You will then answer a question using information from both the reading passage and the talk. After the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak.
There's a famous proverb in business. It's not what you know, but who you know that can help you succeed. Let me explain how business networking can be advantageous to all parties. Let's say a restaurant owner wants to focus on developing the menu and managing her staff. Two activities that she feels most confident doing after having spent great effort managing all the operations required to run a restaurant by herself. She asks an accountant for help in managing the financial side of the restaurant's operations. This helps the owner run the business more efficiently. In the past, before she hired the accountant, she had to divide her time between menu development, staff management, and accounting. This made it hard for her to give her full attention to all the aspects of running her restaurant. After getting an accountant, she was able to supervise her staff better, improve her menu, and have a knowledgeable person take care of the restaurant's finances. Each does the work that they are good at doing. In doing so, a business network has been formed. To add to that, let's say this same restaurant owner ends up in a bit of a legal trouble. Well, the trusting relationships she has with the accountant might come in handy, because accountants are often acquainted with lawyers. So the accountant can introduce reputable lawyer friend to the restaurateur. And then the lawyer can help her get things in order and in compliance with the law. So no worries. Now it's not one person who benefits, but three, and this little network can keep growing and growing to mutually benefit more and more people.
Please prepare your answer after the beep. Please begin speaking after the beep.
In this question, you will listen to part of a lecture. You will then be asked a question about what you have heard. Your response will be scored on your ability to speak clearly and coherently and on your ability to accurately convey information about what you heard. You will have 20 seconds to prepare and 60 seconds to respond.
In film, there are many ways to influence how the audience perceives a character. You may be familiar with some obvious techniques, such as through dialogue or background music, or the type of lighting used when characters are on camera. But today, I want to talk about another technique: camera angles. There are two major types, and today I want to discuss their effect on audience perception. Let's talk first about low-angle shots. In case you're confused, we're talking about setting the camera at a lower angle so that it points up at an actor. I'm sure you can guess what kind of effect this creates when we see a character from this angle. Impressions of power, dominance, and authority. Since we, the audience, are looking up at the character, we get a sense of power from him or her. We can't see the top of their head. We're beneath them. Have any of you seen the British film Mrs. Brown? When Queen Victoria first appears, she's introduced at a low-angle shot. Our first impression of the character is one of authority and control. We immediately recognize her as an imposing royal figure of high regard. On the other hand, there are high-angle shots. In contrast to low-angle shots, these convey weakness, vulnerability, innocence, and are sometimes used to elicit sympathy for the character on screen. While the low-angle shot is limited to the distance below the subject's head, the high-angle shot can be taken at any distance. The further away, the more pathetic and helpless the character appears. Think of a film in which a man is lost, say, in the middle of a desert. When the camera pans away from him, looking down on him in the endless expanse of desert, his helplessness is further emphasized to the audience.
The professor discusses two scenarios involving a restaurant owner. Explain how these examples relate to business networking.
Please begin speaking after the beep.